Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again everybody. Here with another reaction. This time, I'm not going to mention the person's name who sent this, so this has come from one of my channel members who I sincerely appreciate. They have reached out and asked me if I would consider doing a reaction to a Mr. Ben Griffin. There's a couple of videos and there's some articles and stuff in here, so let me try to paint a bit of a picture and give you some context before we dive into this reaction. So I'm just going to read through what one of my channel members has been kind enough to send through to me. This person, so Ben Griffin, ex-22 SAS soldier who refused to redeploy to Iraq over his unit capturing civilians, then delivering them to be tortured, is what it says in here. He claims due to flawed intelligence gathering, innocent people were wrongly viewed as insurgents, yet despite his unit knowing they were innocent, they still followed orders to deliver them for torture interrogation. He later whistle-blew over this and became a peace activist. He retired from public activism in 2019. He's got in here, so this person that sent this has been really kind, respectful. They said, I know this is a difficult topic, but I think it's an important issue where discussion needs to be had. Fair enough. Let me know if it's not for you. I respect it might not be. So I appreciate you taking that into consideration. Hey, for me, it's not outside the realm of something that I would react to. For me, I consider it's no different to me reacting to Ben Roberts-Smith, who I consider a friend, and people, and regardless of the allegations that are against him with regards to war crimes and that sort of stuff, bullying other soldiers, etc. I never saw any of that. So anyway, he's got a couple of videos that he'd like me to react to. He's provided those. One of them you can see on here, which we'll get into. I want these reaction vids, or I'd like these reaction vids to be made public for all viewers. So that's what I'll do with these, not just members of your channel. So this is from somebody who is a member of the channel, paid member, and would like these to be made public. So appreciate the request. For me, this is an essential requirement. Please let me know if this is okay for you. Anyway, he's provided a bunch of other information and stuff down there. Just hang on, bear with me a sec. Oh, yes. So in terms of acknowledgement, I'll put this into the description as well. But Hugh Keir, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, K-E-I-R. He's the person that I believe is interviewing Ben. Excuse me, ex-Parachute Regiment sniper and host of the HR podcast, veteran of Iraq/Afghanistan, and he also deployed to Iraq in 2003. Due to this, so to give Hugh the credit he deserves, so I ask in the description of your vids, a link is posted to the original video. So I'll do that. There'll be a link in there. Apologies, but I need to get this out so that you have a bit of context. You can always skip forward to the reaction if you like. So I'll do that, but also want to acknowledge Hugh and the HR podcast as well for what you're doing, what you've done. Also, to give info to your viewers on who the host is for you to write about Hugh in the YouTube description box. So Hugh Keir, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, bro. Host of the HR podcast, was a decorated sniper of the Parachute Regiment with multiple deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, and was a sniper commander in the Siege of Musa Qala. So shout out Hugh, and thank you for your service, bro, and what you do now. So there's the videos. There's a bunch of questions, so I'll be needing to come back into these to read through the questions as we go, and at the same time provide my reaction to what we're getting into. So that being said, that long intro been taken care of. Apologies about that. Let's jump into this reaction.
Ben, mate, thank you for the fastball, proper fastball.
Oh, it was, yeah.
For coming down tonight. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, because I don't know a huge amount about your background, or you know, now really. Obviously, we're on because I'm interested in your outlook on things, you're taking on things now. Give us a back brief. Who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Ben, and So, where do you want to start? I mean,
well, okay, so military, totally military.
Okay, yeah. So, I was living in Swansea when I joined the military. Joined when I was 19. Joined the Parachute Regiment. So that would be back in 1997. 623 platoon. I think you was Parachute as well, weren't you? Yeah. So 623 platoon. Passed out the depot. Got sent to 2 para, and that was still in Aldershot at the time. B Company 2 para. It was a good company to be in. And so I would have done the, deployed to Ireland. You're talking about posts.
What I like about this initially or off the bat is that it's personal, it's one-to-one, it's face-to-face. The interviews and the question that I get asked, when am I going to do interviews again? This is how I want to do it. I want to do them face-to-face. They've cracked open a bottle each, I think. It's probably some type of, I'm guessing, I'm making an assumption here, some type of alcoholic beverage maybe, and a couple of guys having a chat about their experiences. There's clearly a lot in this discussion, I'm assuming. It goes for nearly 2 hours, and it's got here, ex-SAS trooper questions the morality of his missions in Baghdad. So we'll crack back on.
Post the ceasefire, just really into the peace process, and would have deployed over there just before the Good Friday Agreement was being
So when did you get to 2 para?
1997.
Okay, cool. Right, yeah.
So did a tour of Ireland. That would have been in Armagh City, Dramad Barracks, and we was the ops company, so we'd have been sent sort of patrolling down in South Armagh, and then public order stuff in Portadown, Garvackie Road, place like that. So what would have done after that? So still in 2 para. Obviously the usual sort of battalion and company exercises, Botswana, Canada, a place like that. Then we moved, 2 para moved from Aldershot to Colchester. And what would he have done next?
You were, so 2 para, what was Macedonia was 2003, no, 2002.
2001, yeah. So that would have been next. So obviously, apart from all the exercise and everything else, would have gone to Macedonia in 2001 from Colchester, and while we were out there, 9/11 happened. So whilst we was in Macedonia, it's quite one of those things you always remember. Where were you when something happened? And we were in this B company was in this fruit factory, and the rest of the battalion was in, I think it's called the peanut factory. And I know, and the fruit factory was good. It was a little company location. It was a lot more relaxed. And if you was in the peanut factory, it was like hell on earth. And in the corner of the fruit factory, like in the corner of the grounds, there was a little shop where you could buy fruit juice. Every fruit juice on the planet was in there, and this was the only TV that was in there. And the guys used to go over there, get a fruit juice or something, and then watch a bit of TV. And then someone's come back and you go, you got to come and see this. You got to come and see this. And it was the planes flying into the towers. And you're looking at it thinking, is this real? Is this a film?
Yeah.
And I suppose that was the big change that I saw in the military from a sort of like pre-2001 to a post-2001 in terms of tempo and attitudes maybe changed over time, and where you got deployed changed. For years it was sort of Parachute Regiment was mostly Northern Ireland. If you was in armoured infantry units, you might have gone to Bosnia, and then obviously it all sort of flipped over to the Middle East. So I did Macedonia, and then we deployed to Afghanistan.
That's right. On God, what was that called?
I know you're asking.
I got. Yeah, sorry. There's 2 para lads kicking us now. Mate, you fucking idiots. Oh, you can swear, by the way. I've got a brief.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, swearing's all right.
I remember in Macedonia, it was the first time we've been given one of those Velcro patches that you see everywhere now. And it
was it maybe Anaconda in 2001? I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about, or maybe there was another one that we're on. I wasn't on that, but I'd heard of and knew of guys. I think I was probably may have been going through cycle when guys were over there from the Australian regiment, possibly, or maybe just before selection, something like that. Anyway, I can't remember either.
It was TFH, Was it Task Force Harvest? It's such a rubbish name.
A green patch.
Yeah, with a little triangle. And then we got a similar one. It was ISAF. Was it ISAF?
ISAF for Afghanistan.
ISAF, yeah.
The green patch. I can't remember what the operation was called, but basically it was in Kabul, and it was sort of general
security operation. You know, patrolling the streets, surveillance, and training
the Afghan National Army. That was part of the role over there.
Got sent back from that, and went on junior Brecon.
Got promoted to corporal, and then we went back to Ireland.
Which company were you with?
I was B company the whole time.
Okay.
So what you
joined?
2000.
2000. So you would know similar people.
Yeah.
I imagine, yeah, like people who was in at the same time.
I've just had Nick McCarthy on. Remember Nick McCarthy with the patrols? He got out 04. He would have been here when you got in. Big Geordie.
Old Geordie.
Maybe not. Can't picture him. Yeah,
I think he remembers you.
Right, got you.
Yeah, so got back from Afghanistan, did junior Brecon.
It's tough that at times, and especially even for me at times when names come up, sometimes I'm better at the faces than with the names.
And then we went back to Ireland, which was kind of strange because the army's now definitely in this 21st century conflict. You know, we've got troops in Afghanistan. There's already talk of Iraq. There's also talk at the time of a whole load of other countries as well. You remember, you know, like
everyone's going to get a slice.
Everyone was going to get something, yeah. And we got sent back to this like 1970s.
That's right. You got sent there, and then your tour got extended. So 1 power and 3 power go and do the Iraq invasion. Remember?
Yeah. So it's supposed to be 6 months in Crossmaglen, going from September to March. So September 02 to March 03, and then obviously it got extended. And like nothing had been updated in Ireland since the 80s, because I suppose since the early 90s it was kind of like, well, this is going to be over soon, so don't bother spending any money on anything, you know. And like I don't know if you've ever been down Crossmaglen, the base down there, but it was, you know, it's proper old fashions, you know. And yeah, it's kind of weird because we were watching the invasion of Iraq, you know, in one of the Gulf Towers, which are like these little hilltop forts with it looked like a submarine but dug into a hill.
Yeah.
And you live underground a bit like this, you know, in rooms not dissimilar to this, watching this little TV of, you know, that I don't think 1 and 3 power didn't really get much onto the news. It was more the Marines.
Didn't do much.
Yeah, I remember watching them going into some port or something, and I can't even remember it.
Yeah.
But, you know, but anyway, it was weird. We were watching it. We wanted to be there, and we were stuck in the 1970s.
You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss much. It was some hard stuff, but more physically hard.
God, I remember doing this. I remember doing this advanced to contact, which in the end
it did nothing. And it was just kilometres and kilometres across in the area of the Gosps and that in the Ramallah oil field. I actually went back there when I went private security, and so I know all that at the back of my hand now. And then it was just Tom, like a jimpy gunner, and the kilometres of this advanced to contact, and the ground is like, I don't know if have you been? I don't know if you've been out there, but in those marsh areas where they drained all the marshland, you got like it's like inches of dust and on top of hard crust. It's like walking through sand, right?
Yeah.
For kilometres. It's just in tatters. Ginger, pasty white skin. I'm a day walker now. I cut around in sunlight and bother me. It's all from like that onwards.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't miss much. He did a lot of hard, you know, hard graft physically, digging trenches and that proper. But then in terms of battle, not much. Just going back, you from Swansea?
No, but I went to, so I'm from South London. I've got a twin brother. So when we were 9, my parents decided we'd move to mid Wales, a place called Machynlleth. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Called where?
Machynlleth.
Alright.
Just north of Aberystwyth. Basically, if you put a pin in the middle of Wales.
That's why I don't know it. Why the fuck would anyone go there?
Exactly, mate. No, it's a you know, a sort of market town for a very rural agricultural area. So we moved there, and then when we were 14, we moved down to
Swansea, and that's where I joined the army from. I was in the cadets in Swansea and things like that.
Got you. So,
yeah, Ireland 2003, watching 1 and 3.
Yeah, so we was all obviously gutted, but I think 1 in 3 had been pissed off with us for a long time anyway because we kept on getting all these jobs.
Definitely. The 3 power meant to go to Macedonia because we were, mate. I still let you know. 3 power meant to go to Macedonia, and the handover from whatever task force we were on, 48 hours.
The task came from Macedonia 4 days or 2 days
before we handed over. But because it's so close to hand over to you guys, they went, give it to 2 power. Like, no, I want a medal.
Well, you didn't miss much on that either, to be honest. I mean, you know that something's up
when you get off the plane, you know, and you're going into a conflict zone. Let's not call it a war zone. It's
a conflict zone. And there's a bank of reporters already there filming you coming off the plane, you know.
That's hard case. That reminds me of Kyle Morgan on the Sean Ryan show speaking about they got tooled up getting ready to go into Iraq, and then they're doing the spiral turn down to come into land, and they're getting ready, geared up, thinking, okay, we're going to be in it once we land. And then they come off the ramp, and they see all these journalists and stuff there filming them that are already there. And they're like, oh, what the hell? So it sounds sort of similar to what Ben has just mentioned here.
Yeah. I mean, that was very much a strange, not strange, just maybe not what people expected. And I think that's actually common with a lot of military operations. There's the expectation beforehand, and then the reality of what you're actually doing.
For first deployment, yeah.
And for a lot of deployments, that they don't actually meet certain expectations sometimes. You know, like, for example, I imagine that going to Iraq in 2003 didn't really meet your expectations about what it was going to be, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite common, you know. Unless you're going back to Ireland for the 3rd or 4th time, and then there's no great surprises. Yeah.
I remember
getting a call saying we were going out there. And I was in the car. I didn't got a call in the car. Pre-flipping mobile phones.
But I remember in the car being elated, like, I'm going to war. Literally, I'm shouting at myself. I remember I'd only been in a couple of years. Like, this is mega. You know, doing what people have wanted to do since the Falklands.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And so I must have been told, like, in the camp that day on the brief or something, and then me driving home, and
it hit me. And then, and then 6 months later, it's like, God, nothing happened.
I lost some weight. I got sunburned. But no, you're right. So, when did you go for selection?
So, when I was on that, how long were we out there for? I know. So we were out there for, I don't know, someone would be able to correct me on this, but I think we was out there for 7 or 8 months, maybe.
Yes, maybe. And the one good thing about being out there for 7 or 8 months, loads of time to train. Just get
basic, you know, like stamina training done. So I don't know, you probably haven't got any anymore, but in one of the golf towers you had an old-fashioned running machine that didn't have any electrics.
I remember the one, yeah.
You just adjusted the
friction,
the tilt, and then
you start to slide down it, and you get to run to keep up, you know. And but yeah, I remember
on that for hours and hours, and yeah, it's good. And obviously patrolling in South Mars is quite physical anyway. You know, you're going through hedges and you're going up and down hills, and you know, so it's good, sort of robust physical training. So the idea was I was going to come back from Ireland, and then, you know, go on that summer selection, which was 2003, which is what I ended up doing. So I got back to battalion, probably hung around for a bit, but we weren't doing much anyway. So, and then I went on that selection,
Winter.
Summer 2003.
Yeah.
How
was that?
Yeah.
Did that meet your expectations?
Well, I'd been on the hills before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in 2001. So I knew what that was about, and I'd done a jungle like company exercise.
Botswana.
In Belize. And we had a Hereford DS for that, and he ran it like...
So it was actually quite an advantage, really, in terms of, like, you just knew what was coming. You know, like, they ran it like that. Rather than doing, like, an infantry jungle school, it was sort of contact drills and all that kind of stuff that you're going to do in the jungle.
That would have been awesome. Having a badged member from Tutu, it sounds like, running their jungle or patrol course same way as what it would have been run on patrol procedures. So those good little heads up. And he said he had been on the hills before. So I don't know what that means, whether that means because he tried selection before or earlier, or what? So if he had done, he would have, it sounds like he would have only been in, 97 he joined, so 6 years. Yeah, he might have been in 3-4 years if he had, depending on when he did the hills before. So I don't know if that's normal. I've heard a lot of people in the peanut gallery. He spoke about the peanut. They were in the fruit shed. They were in the peanut shed or whatever it was. Heard a lot of people in the peanut gallery saying, "Oh yeah, 21, you wouldn't be able to get on selection in the UK. You'd have to do a minimum 10 years." Well, clearly not, mate. Clearly, you don't have to do a minimum 10 years in the UK Defence Force before you can go on selection. Maybe not as early as 21. You know, I'd only been in battalion for a little over a year, maybe a little bit less than a year, thereabouts, close to a year anyway. So maybe I wouldn't have got on the UK selection within that time frame. But clearly, you don't have to have been in the UK Defence Force for 10 years before you can go on selection. And we've got Colin McLaughlin as another example of that as well, ex-22 guy. Yeah, let's carry on and see. I know that there are some questions around selection, which I've received in relation to this reaction, and I'll look to try to pause and get to those as well where I can.
Yeah. So it pretty much met my expectation, you know, like selection. And obviously a lot of guys have gone from 2 power onto that. And you hear, you know, people come back who haven't been successful. And also you bump into people who have been successful. So I think in the paras, you have got a sort of advantage over other units in that so many have gone through that process that if you want to find out about something, you're not going in there blind, are you? Whereas some of the guys coming from some other units, you know, it's all a bit of a mystery for them. And also, you know, like the sort of infantry skills that you pick up in the para battalions are useful, you know, on selection and useful in that unit. So you kind of got a head start, I think, which shows by the percentages of the guys who get in.
There was a clerk who transferred from the clerks to 3 para. He wasn't with 3 para very long. Tall, mega lad, and then he went for selection. God, must have been within about a year. Must have been within a year of him transferring to the 3 para, and he passed, mate. Got in. It's like fucking mega. A clerk. Like it was no foundation, no bit apart from like phase 1 of training, and then to come across. First off, be able to come to the 3 para, like pass P company, come to the reg, and then get into Hereford. It's mega got. He's still in now, I think. Still in now.
That's awesome. A clerk, like there's he's not exaggerating that when he's mentioning that. Like you don't get clerks typically that volunteer to go to a combat role. So I don't know how long he was a clerk for, but here this is now starting to get my head going again, reverting back to you have to have done 10 years in the UK military before you can go for SF selection. Rubbish. So there's this clerk, don't know how long they did in the military, gone over to P company or Parachute Regiment. That's a mission just to get into that unit like itself, and then not there very long. The host's words himself, who was ex-Parachute Regiment, and then put in his papers to go on the UK selection and then go over there and then pass. So Clark passed the P company, which is no easy feat either. Like that's a lot of hard work as well. They have a very strong reputation for a reason. Then go on selection and pass there. And this guy's saying he's still serving now. I don't know how old this video is, but when he says that's mega, that's making, that is awesome.
I'll see what name him, but he's a good lad. Good lad.
Oh yeah. I mean, the trick with selection is to pick up what they're teaching you and apply it, and don't make mistakes.
It's exactly what Big Phil Campion says, eh? Like, monkey see, monkey do. They're going to tell you what they want you to do. You need to take that information in as quickly as you can and as accurately as you can, and then implement it, apply it as well as you can.
It's pretty straightforward, you know, like make sure you're looking through your sights when you're firing your weapon, you know, apply your safety catch before moving, things like that. But they're the things that people get picked up on, you know, like if you keep continuously making those same mistakes, you're gonna fail.
Well, that stuff needs to be ingrained in you before you go on there. That kind of stuff's got to be.
Of course.
If you have to think about, I need to remember to put my safety catch on before I move, for example, then you've got a problem. I would not be, you don't want to be going for selection.
No, but obviously guys get through the hills from a variety of units. And
end up in the jungle doing those things, you know, like, you know, a lot of it's about contact drills, you know, you're doing endless days of contact drills. Before you actually go into the jungle, you're in this, I think they call it the sand bowl or something, can't remember what they call it now, but anyway, you're in this area where you're doing contact drills, live contact drills day after day. So, but you've got to stay focused, stay switched on. And I think what some people find hard,
you know, even if you've been in the Parachute Regiment and you're used to putting your safety catch on, and you're used to looking through
right before you fire your weapon, is the responsibility for your arcs of fire and responsibility for what you're doing is very much on your shoulders. Whereas even in the para battalions, you've got safety staff behind you, you know, putting the
old
the fingers up, stop firing, stop firing.
Oh God, was it 520?
520 degrees? Oh God.
Yeah,
it's interesting hearing both of them speak about their experiences, but in particular Ben speaking about selection, and he made a comment about it's fairly straightforward. That's my opinion. It's fairly straightforward selection. There he's referring to the UK selection, right? So the UK selection obviously is 6 months long, and there's a whole bunch of things. On the New Zealand and the Australian selection, you're not doing a jungle phase or break contact drills on the selection portion. For New Zealand and Australia, that happens during the cycle, and that cycle is anywhere from 8 to 12 months, maybe longer, depending, worth of training where you go through all of that stuff, and you've got those intense periods of specific patrol procedures phase, specific counter-terrorism phase, specific demolitions phase, parachuting phase, etc., etc. All of that stuff is part of what we refer to in NZ and Australia as the cycle of training, or reinforcement cycle of training, or the RIO, whole bunch of different terms, but it's the cycle, commonly referred to as cycle or RIO. And so with regards to what he's speaking about here, some of the differences when he's talking about it's fairly straightforward to pass selection from a UK perspective, you can apply the same thought process and mentality to the New Zealand and Australian one, understanding that they're going to tell you what they need you to do, or they're going to provide for you the information in regards to a task that you need to do and or perform, and you either do it or you don't, and you either do it to the standards required or you don't. Examples being the running elements and the timings to meet. Examples being the pack march elements and the timings to meet, the navigation elements and the timings to meet, the distances to cover, etc. So you either meet and cover all of those, which is straightforward. Here's your task, go and do it, and or you don't. So, you know, I agree with what he's sharing there when he's talking about the other aspects of their patrol procedures, looking through your sights when you're firing. For us, that happens on the cycle. Yep, a lot of time during break contact drills and that sort of thing. There are still directing staff badge members who are there as safety, but like you said, a lot of that is under, you've been given the instruction, the training, you've been given all that theory aspect, you've gone through dry runs, rehearsals, etc. Now it's time to put it into action. Only difference being now is you're playing with, no, not playing with, but you're using live rounds, and you've got those corridors of fire, and you've got your mates left and right of you, in front of you, behind you, etc. Weapon safety, weapon accuracy, or in terms of where you're pointing your weapon and what you're shooting at, and making sure that you're doing all those things that you've just been shown, had explained, taught to you, etc. And if you can't do those things, well, then it's going to be picked up, because there's still staff there watching you. It's just not a free-for-all and, you know, they just sit back and watch. I don't imagine that would be the case in 2-2. It's definitely not like that in NZ and Australia. You're under the microscope. So you either do what's asked or you don't, and you get written up and or you get a tap on the shoulder and get the see you later. Maybe a warning, depending on what it is, and or otherwise it's a car keeps, bro, not suitable to be here. How's our time? Yeah, we'll go for a little bit longer.
So that's all gone. You know, it's up to
you. You know, you're responsible for not just your safety, but for the safety of other people.
It's just, you know, like in terms of the responsibility and the awareness you've got to have.
Got to be aware of all the different moving parts, people moving around you.
It would maybe struggle with that. And then the other thing I think people struggle with is that if you sent all those guys on a company exercise, no one would give up. But because you've got the option of giving up, people do.
Wow. That's an interesting take. I've never, I personally have never thought of it that way in the past. So I get, just to rewind a bit, acknowledging the element around being responsible for your mate's safety. Hopefully, maybe I didn't delve into that as specifically as maybe I could have, but hopefully with what I was explaining, those corridors of fire, your mates in front of you, beside you, behind you, the live rounds, the need to look down your scope and make sure that you're identifying your target clearly. The only difference being that now you're using live rounds, etc. But the drills and that don't change. The terrain and landscape may change. People may move in a different direction with regards to seeking cover and or concealment, preferably cover and concealment, when you're going through those types of things. But the terrain is going to be different, and it's going to dictate people. You can't read people's minds, and you don't know where they're going to go, but you're trusting each other that not only are you looking at and out for the enemy, the paper targets in those scenarios, but also your mates that are running to break contact, to move wherever it is that they need to, or wherever it is that they feel they should be going. And at the end of the day, if you're moving to the wrong place or breaching or going outside what the DS or the directing staff have provided you instruction on, and you're potentially compromising the integrity of that break contact formation to get out of there and then peel off, you're going to find out about it. So you don't want to be running around like a headless chook, running here, there, and everywhere, and your bloody mates are trying to go, man, what the hell is this guy doing? Because, yeah, you don't want people like that either. So staying the course and sticking to what it is that you're supposed to do. There is a significant amount of responsibility, though, for each other to look out for, not only yourself, but your mates that are in those. And that's just one example. It's like that throughout the whole of the cycle. And I assume it's like that throughout the whole of the UK selection process. Then it doesn't end. Once you get into the unit, that mentality, that mindset, that application of the training that you've received needs to continue. You're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your mates. Don't compromise that. Try to not compromise that. Look after each other. So that's that piece. There was a couple of questions and stuff in here in and around this, because I'm going to pause this one here. That's on around 30 minutes. The other part was what he mentioned. If they were on a company exercise, they probably wouldn't quit, but on selection, because they have the option to quit, people do. That's an interesting take, man. I never thought of that. You know what does come to mind, though? I'm doing this slightly off topic, but I'll try to link it back. Running this Reckoning 30-hour SAS style experience, scaled version, for people that want to test themselves, for people that some are preparing for selection, others aren't. And others won't be going on selection, but they want to have a bit of a taste or an experience. So combining the experience that I've had from both NZ and Australia, compressing it into 30 hours, sort of the sort of first 30 hours of a selection course itself, to provide that. But people have to pay to come and do that. And I just, after having a chat with a friend of mine, it popped into my head. I was like, man, there are a lot of humbugs, right? Humbugs, blinking dreamers, people that are bloody just wasting the unit's time, the Defence Force's time, money, resources, etc., to go on a selection course, knowing full well that they don't have the genuine desire to want to serve there. So I just thought, man, it would be good if those that want to go on selection have to pay. So as a soldier in the Defence Force, you don't have to pay anything. Like, the Defence Force takes care of all of that. Fly you there if they need to, drive you there if they need to. You know, fed, you've got all that stuff there initially. And then if you fail or you quit, well, then you don't need to pay for anything to go back. The Defence Force will sort you out, get you on a bus or on a flight, and then you go back to your unit and then you crack on as per whatever it is that you're supposed to do. I reckon you could change a heck of a lot of that and get more genuine applicants if the process was you have to pay to go on selection. I don't know, make it $1,000, make it $3,000. I don't know. Find a number, and that in and of itself, you will get, my opinion, take it for what it's worth, my 2 cents, I believe you will get people that are genuine about wanting to go serve the unit. What, I've got to pay $1,000, I've got to pay $3,000 out of my own salary to go on selection? Yeah, you want to serve there, don't you? You want to go there and you want to serve with the operators in that unit. You want to be trusted. You want to do this. You want to do that. Yeah, it's $3,000. It's $1,500. Whatever it is, find the number. I'm just spitballing numbers here. But when you've got, like anything, when you've got skin in the game and it's your own money that you've had to save up for and then put it in, you are generally more invested in wanting to succeed. If it's not your money and or if it's free, you don't care. I'll do that all day. I don't want to do it now. Quit after 24 hours, after 48 hours. It's not for me. Just wasting everybody's time. Anyway, that's me going on a bit of a rant, turned out instead of answering the question. So in here are the mistakes he cites people make on 2-2SA selection, common mistakes people made on your selections. There were times on the, not so much on the selection, on the cycle. So the break contact ones that he's talking about, that's on the cycle. Again, just to reiterate, you've got to get through the selection to get onto the cycle, to have the opportunity to start learning those fundamental skills of what it takes, to be an SAS soldier. And there are people that are doing these ones, like shooting, looking down the sight, and then doing these on, still squeezing the trigger while they're looking around. No, don't do that, mate. So, there are, what I'm hearing, there are some similarities and common mistakes that people, I think, regardless of where they are, will probably make at different times if they're not switched on, if they're not doing what it is that they've been asked to do. And then we haven't quite got through the other part. So I'm going to pause this one here because that's 37 minutes now. But grateful to the person, like I said, a channel member who has sent through this request. Apologies. Now that I've given that backdrop, I will look to make my way through these videos to complete the reactions for these. I know it's early stages and he's talking about where he's from and sort of his journey and some of the things that he had deployed on. And we're just only getting into the selection piece now. So like I said, it's nearly 2 hours. I'm only just under 17 minutes into this thing. So if you're here for the reaction in and around what has been requested, I invite you to stick around for the future or look out for the other videos that will be posted. Otherwise, if it's neither here nor there to you, that's cool as well. Appreciate your time if you've made it this far. Thank you for your support. And look forward to working my way through this video and then the other video that's been sent as well. As always, the message is the same. Anybody going through any difficulties, challenges, hard times, heartache, I encourage you, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight. Know that better days are ahead. Know that you are not alone. Know that if you continue to stay consistent, disciplined, put one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time, you will get to that light at the end of the tunnel. Better days are ahead. The sun will shine again. I promise you, it won't stay lonely, miserable forever. It is temporary. Things do get better. Even though we, you and I, and we may not be able to see that right now, things do get better, I promise you. So stay in it, keep turning up, and keep chipping away. As always, go always a little further. Remember who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.